Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sunny Side. I'm Sunny, and right here, right now, I'm going to tell you guys all about Venus in Aries. Now, just to let you guys know, this is a long video, so if you want to speed ahead, go ahead and speed ahead. First, a little blah blah. For those who don't know, I'm a professional astrologer, and I do write the horoscopes for some of the newspapers here in Canada. And if you want a personal reading, just check it out in the description box below. And also in the description box, there are a bunch of stuff on sale on the website if you're into that kind of stuff. Okay, now, for those who... Oh, I'm also recording... I record all these videos live now on the channel, so if I get a little bit distracted, it's because everybody's telling jokes here. We're having fun talking about... We're doing knock-knocks jokes on the channel this morning. And so we have a lot of live streams here on the Sunny Side. If you're interested in that, please tune in. And if you drop by, please say, what's up? Now, to let you guys know, I have... a bunch of reports that I've accumulated over the years of different writings of different astrologers talking about certain things. And this particular collection that I'm sharing with you today, it's about some very popular astrologers speaking about Venus in Aries. And here we go. So sit back, enjoy. I hope everyone has a super amazing day. And once again, if you want a personal reading, or if you want to know what's going on in your chart, or if you want some relationship stuff, like, you know, if you want to know if somebody is blah, blah, whatever, just check out the description box and please subscribe to the channel. Please, please, please subscribe to the channel. Here we go. So for those who don't know, Venus is two things. Venus is two things. One, it's what you attract. So if you're writing a professional horoscope for the newspaper and you want to know if someone's in a money cycle, you know, if they're going to attract money, that's Venus. You know, if they want to know if someone's going to spend money, that's Mars, you know. Mars heats it up. Money in, money out is Mars. Attraction is Venus. If you're in a dating cycle or a love cycle, that's Venus activated in a particular part of your chart. And that's how it works. Remember, having a planet, your planets have to be activated, but I go on that so often in the channel. You can check that out. But Venus is more than that. Venus is how you relate. It's also how you relate to other people. So often I hear that the moon is your emotions, but like love is an emotion too. That's not really your moon. The moon is what you want to do. So I'll just do a quick summation here about some of the planets, and then we'll read what all these guys said. So the sun is who you are. It's where you shine your light in the world. So if your sun is in Aries, you shine your light in an Aries kind of way. And an Aries is a competitive sign. They need something to push up against. So that's, you need something. Aries wants something that pushes back against them. So if your sun's there, that's what's going to happen. If your moon's in Aries, you want to be in the Aries kind of way. You want to hang. You support. You want to be like that, but you're not. You're wherever your sun is. So let's say your sun is in let's say Cancer. Cancer is very nurturing. You shine your light in a very nurturing kind of way, but your moon is in Aries. You want to, be competitive. You want to push. You need to push back. You want to see how good you are. You want to test yourself, but you shine your light in a Cancer way, so you might stand back a little bit, even though that's what you want. And so, but Venus is how it's not only what you attract. So Venus is in Aries, you're going to attract Aries kind of vibe. You're going to attract guys who have this Aries energy around them. You're also going, so that's what you're going to attract, and depending on where it is in your chart. So if it's in your relationship sector, you're going to attract competitive kind of guys, or fiery kind of guys, because Aries is fire energy. Or if Venus is in your financial sector in Aries, you're going to attract money in a very fiery kind of way. Does that mean like I'm going to work at the circus and jump through fire? Maybe. Probably not. But that's what's going on. But Venus is also how you want to relate to others. And so if Venus is in Sagittarius, you're going to want to make other people laugh. If it's in Scorpio, you're going to want to have sex with everybody. If it's in Leo, your Venus is in Leo, you're going to want to make everybody shine. You want everyone to be happy and proud and feel good about themselves. And today, we're going to talk about Venus in Aries. So here we go. So Louis S. Acker says, and Francis Sacaoin, I can't pronounce Francis's name. And so, here we go. So this is what these guys say about Venus. Venus rules the principle of love and reaching out to others. See? It's what you attract, and it's reaching out. Venus in Aries indicates those who tend to be aggressive in their emotional self-expression. Their outgoing natures lend enthusiasm and sparkle to social gatherings. They have no problem in pursuing, they didn't say problem, but they could keep that. They have no problem in pursuing the objects of their interest, and they can be competitive when seeking the affection of others. In a female horoscope, this quality may make for an aggressive approach in which the woman chases the man. So I'll say that again. If you have Venus in Aries and you're a woman, you might be the one who's chasing. Okay. The ability of these people to be passionate in love and romance results from Mars and the ruler of Aries. Mars, which is the ruler of Aries, which gives energy to the affections of Venus. These affections can be impulsive and unstable, however. So although people say, oh, Venus in Aries, that's a lousy place for Venus. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It is what it is, wherever it is what it is. Venus is in, can we talk about, Venus in Aries is in its detriment because Aries is the opposite sign of Libra, which Venus rules. For this reason, people with Venus in Aries demand a lot of personal attention and tend to be self-centered. If Venus is afflicted by Aries, if Venus is afflicted in Aries, the native's manners can be coarse, lacking in refinement. When Venus in Aries is well aspected, there is a positive, cheerful attitude. There's also the ability to be actively creative in artistic pursuits. All right, next, Babs Kirby and Janie Stubbs. This is what they say. Venus in Aries is the most impulsive of all the Venus signs, leaping straight into relationships, usually on the basis of romantic attraction alone. Practical difficulties are no deterrent at all to them. There is something in of the knight in shining armor about these people. They like to feel that they're rescuing someone from a miserable existence and carrying them off to the eternal bliss. Remember, Venus in Aries, I didn't say this, Venus in Aries likes to be the star of the show. They are the knight. They embody the knight in shining armor attitude. Once again, Aries needs a dragon to be a knight. That's for Venus and Aries to fully express themselves, they need to be able to fight a dragon for you. They're idealistic and somewhat naive. The Venus and Aries person expects the best of everyone. They're straightforward and direct to the point of bluntness themselves. It never occurs to them that some people are devious and manipulative. Because of this, they feel terribly hurt and let down when people betray their trust. Venus in Aries likes to take the initiative and tends to come on pretty strong, which can be very alarming to more timid types. Aries has little time for the subtle approach, preferring things to happen now and lacking patience with people who cannot make up their minds. So Venus in Aries are romantically impulsive. You guys got that? Okay. Because Venus is the relating principle and Aries is concerned with being itself, there's going to be some degree of internal conflict between the self and the other. Maybe not. And it may be quite difficult for the Venus in Aries person to work out a balance between the need for independence and personal self-expression as the need for the relationship and sharing. Once again, Venus in Aries people can be somewhat selfish. It's not that they're selfish, it's that they have a desire to do something, and they're impulsive about it. Venus in Aries needs space and freedom in relationships and appreciates independence in others. As lovers, they are warm and demonstrative, giving their love freely and open-heartedly. They need and can create an element of excitement in their relationships so that life is never dull, for someone involved with them. The person with Venus in Aries tends to demand attention and will definitely want to be the number one attraction in their partner's life. Their love is full of heat and intensity, which can quickly change to dramatic rage when they feel hurt. Venus in Aries gives drama and passion, together with romanticism and naive hopefulness. For the Venus in Aries person, the eternally burning flame of hope is what makes life worth living, and they will never cease to pursue their vision of the perfect love. I think that's quite romantic. So Venus in Aries is a very impulsive lover. They want to, so they're competitive in love and they're impulsive in love, and they tend to, they lust after things. Venus isn't not necessarily lustful, let's say, but they go after the things. Okay, next, this is from Sky Alexander. This is a difficult, so this guy says this is a difficult position for Venus, but personally, me as a professional astrologer, I don't think it's that difficult. Here, the planet that represents, you see, it's not that difficult because, you know, and some people think squares in astrology, it's action, it's motivation, it needs to resolve itself. Too many trines, or Venus in a too harmonious place in your chart, let's say, makes someone lazy. Makes someone lazy and they get bored easy. So, you know, you have to balance it all out. So there's not really any good or bad here. And if you're born with it and that's your action, that's your action. Anyway, Sky says this is a difficult position for Venus. Here, the planet that represents female energy is placed in the most masculine of signs. Consequently, Venus has a hard time expressing its natural characteristics of harmony, union, and romantic love in a sign that's individualistic and combative. In partnerships of all kinds, but especially in your love relationships, you insist on being the dominant partner and are not willing to compromise very much in order to maintain domestic tranquility. In fact, you don't really want your relationships to be peaceful and harmonious. You prefer to maintain a high level of tension in your relationships and find conflicts and arguments stimulating and exciting. Just like dating a Scorpio. Often you start fights, verbal, even physical ones, with your partner just to see the fireworks. If things stay calm for long, you become bored. So these guys are a little bit restless. But so is dating Sagittarius. Anyways, you see love as a contest and partners as opponents to be conquered. That's the thing. I tell you, I've been saying this. I say this in other videos for you guys, that when you're hanging out with your Aries, you don't want to compete against your Aries. You want to be on the same side as your Aries, competing against others. You want to be a couple that competes against others as opposed to a couple that competes against themselves. But that's the whole thing about relationships. You want to be on the same side as each other and not like... Anyways, next. So once again, they say, they're saying you see love as a contest and partners... Okay. It is the chase that intrigues you most, and you're likely to lose interest in someone once he or she succumbs to your advances. The way to keep your attention is to keep you guessing, always looking for new experiences, new challenges, and you tend to be rather promiscuous, or at least to change partners frequently. Whether male or female, you're usually the aggressor, easily pursuing your quarry rather than waiting for them to make the first move. Now, for these guys, Venus in Aries, sex is more important than affection. And unless you have water signs, you know, water in your chart somewhere, you may lack the ability to express tenderness and romance in love relationships. But there is more to that. You just have to have the right person to unlock that in you. And you can mix it all together. But that's for another story. In itself, this placement of Venus is not an indicator of artistic sensibility. No kidding. If you have artistic talents as a result of other factors in your birth chart, you are likely to be avant-garde, even rather provocative in the way you express yourself creatively. Your style tends to be highly energetic and forceful, even abrasive or violent. Women with this planetary placement may reject traditional feminine images and put little value on such things as home, a husband, and family. Independent, outspoken, and assertive, you refuse to let any man dominate you and insist on being free to do as you wish in matters of love. You probably aren't feminine in the traditional sense, for what makes you feel good about yourself as a woman is being able to do things like a man. Ooh, that's funny. You'll want to show everyone, including yourself, that anything a man can do, a woman can do better. Thus, you might express this image of yourself through athletics, by being highly competitive in the business world, or by playing the role of buddy to the men in your life. As a child, you probably were a tomboy who beat up your brothers or could out-hit anyone on the local Little League team. It's very cute. Men with Venus in Aries tend to be out... So once again, it's not just about love, it's how you express yourself. It's one of the ways that you express yourself in the world. It's the harmonious way you express yourself in the world. And so you could express yourself in a competitive kind of way, a competitive but loving kind of way. And that can manifest itself in sports. Men with Venus in Aries tend to be out of touch with their female sides. unless it's, it says some things here, and have little respect for female values or even for women in general. Your ideal woman is one who is one of the guys. So I'll say that again. And I talk about this in the Aries video, but in one of the other Aries video, but it says your ideal woman is one who's one of the guys who likes to play football with you and your friends on a Saturday afternoon and can drink the lot of you under the table afterwards. Emotional, gentle, delicate, or sensitive women don't interest you in the least. You want a partner who is strong, feisty, and independent, even a little bit butch. Thus, you might find women with mesomorphic bodies, athletes and bodybuilders, more attractive than those with hourglass figures. Next, Julia and Derek Parker. Here's what these guys say. So once again, Moon and Venus. Not Moon and Venus. What's wrong with me? You can't have a Moon and Venus. Okay. Venus in Aries. The individual is passionate, falling in love quickly, and will be demonstrative. All right, we got it. I'll say it again. Passionate, quick to fall in love, and demonstrative, and highly sexual. Sexual fulfillment is of the above average importance, and an uncooperative partner will not be tolerated. Oh yeah, and also Venus in Aries is like very quick to next you. But Venus, they're not like going to next you. Sagittarius is going to next you. Venus in Aries is going to play you. They're going to keep around until they get what they want, then they'll leave. Although an element of Aryan selfishness may well cause problems occasionally, the individual will be generous to a loved one. Aries is a generous sign, making sure there are many occasions of joint enjoyment. Here is a lively friend or energetic colleague. The attitude to money is extremely enterprising, but a risk-taking element can cause financial losses. They're risky. Often there's an enjoyable second source of income, but money can still slip through their fingers. It depends on where it hangs in your chart. If the sun sign is Aquarius, Venus here, remember Venus in Aries. If the sun sign is Aquarius, Venus here adds warmth and passion to the cool detachment of the Aquarian sun. There will be powerful emotional relationships, but sometimes conflict can arise when the subject has to decide whether to deepen one of these through home sharing or marriage, and there may be a delay in making an emotional commitment. Independence is the most important, as is the Aquarian lifestyle. There will be an active social life and many like-minded friends. There's an erratic attitude towards money with a liking for unusual possessions. Oh, here we go. This guy goes on, talks about a little bit of this. If the sun is in Pisces, this sun in Pisces, Venus in Aries. The sensitive watery emotions of Pisces combined with the fiery passions of Aries makes these individuals ardent but caring and tender lovers. At times, they will be confused by their own emotional intensity and apprehension, and a lack of self-confidence may clash with the desire for the loved ones. Okay, so I'll say that again. Venus in Aries. Lack of self-confidence, that's coming from the Pisces. But it has Venus in Aries has a desire to clash with loved ones. Nonetheless, the striving for a rewarding relationship is important, as are friends with shared interest. Money will be enjoyed, so saving may okay. The subject, so if you have Pisces Sun, Venus in Aries, you may find yourself being impulsively generous, and that can cause problems. If the sun sign is Aries, so Sun in Aries, Venus in Aries, here's a passionate and enthusiastic partner who needs to maintain independence within a permanent relationship. Although selfish at times, he or she will be generous to loved ones, wanting them to enjoy the relationship. Rivalry can occur in friendship, with the subject needing to take the lead. Money is often made from sidelines as well as the main source, and investment will be enjoyed. Impulse buying can lead to cash flow problems. So once again, Venus is one of the places in your chart where you make your money. So Venus in Aries is impulsive money. It's money in, right? Venus is what you receive in the chart. It's also how you want to relate. So, it's impulsive love, impulsive money. It's just speculative. If the sun sign is Taurus and the Venus is in Aries, the passions are very powerful, and while the subject makes an excellent sensual lover, the emotional level is so high that storms may well arise. At such times, possessiveness, which is Taurus, and selfishness, which is Venus in Aries, can cause serious problems, but the highs will be marvelously romantic as well as fulfilling. Over-emotional reactions can sometimes cause difficulties with friends. In money matters, the individual is clever, but a liking for luxury will prove expensive. Remember, Venus in Aries will spend money. If the sun sign is Gemini, then Gemini's mistrust of emotion can cause problems. Problems with this passionate placing, there will be problems with it here, but there will be good rapport and friendships and sexual fulfillment once the tendency to rationalize is over. So this is a Gemini with a Venus in Aries. This is a lively friend with many varied interests, wanting to do a great deal and travel widely. Spendthrift tendencies must be countered. Okay, here's a static interpretation. So this writer went through, a bunch of the sun signs. Here's a static interpretation. If you value aggressive independence in relationships, you might, without knowing it, relate to others thoughtlessly and forcefully. Thus, you may experience an endless series of temporary alliances. So, do you guys catch that? Venus in Aries, temporary alliances. In attempting to prove the Aries self-worth by disregarding the values of others, you may ultimately win the conquest, yet end up alone. Consequently, a reluctance to sustain closeness often results in a lack of confidence in your worth and ability to relate to others. When you withhold your ability for positive leadership in social situations, it may lead to a competitive viewpoint that's destructive for all concerned. Next, dynamic. Okay, so here's a dynamic report. You possess the ability to take the initiative in social situations. You can be a spontaneous leader with the natural Aries gifts of enthusiasm and courage. You inspire others to contribute to the group. You can realize your inherent value when you share your independence in a manner that helps others to help themselves. This encourages others to actualize their potential for self-sufficiency. You can become aware that others feel insecure about their sense of self-reliance. This awareness enables you to motivate them to believe in themselves and assert their individuality. As you help others to build their own independence, you simultaneously come to a realization of your true worth. Combining your talent for seizing leadership with the recognition of other people's feelings can lead to a sense of confidence in your ability to stimulate others to interact socially. This situation maintains your independence and validates the worth of all concerned. Next, Grant Lewis. We've got some neat ones coming up. Grant Lewis, Sydney Omar, and Lynn Burbeck are coming up. So Grant says, your reaction to emotional stimuli is highly personal. Because it's Aries, right? It's personal. You'll do anything for someone you love, and little for anyone or any group that has not won your personal affection. Love, sympathy, human kindness are all related to yourself. Oh, well, he's doing this sounds kind of more first house in Aries, if you ask me. Anyways, you are therefore not a great humanitarian, nor especially interested in group social problems, but you may be much more interested in society, that is, social gatherings, social positions, social graces. You are warm and even ardent when, what's everybody using this word? When you feel you're loved, but can also be touchy with your friends and easily offended. This is a somewhat narrowing position for Venus, and with it, you should make a conscious effort to find sympathy and understanding for people whom you don't love and who never will love you. By universalizing the Venetian vibrations, you broaden your whole nature, widen your interests, and give greatest scope to your abundant emotional vitality, which benefits you in direct proportion to the number of individuals whose problems you're able to take to heart. Next, all right, let's get to Sydney. See what Sydney says here. Sydney Omar. So that was an interesting thing about it, but I have a feeling it sounded more first house stuff than Aries, if you ask me. Sydney Omar. In Aries, Venus is an emotional antenna. The native is sensitive, aware of how others. Native is the words we use. One of the words we use in astrology, the native or the subject or the person you're talking about. Okay, the native is sensitive, aware of how others feel and react. He wants love. He wants to love and be loved. Remember, Venus. It's what you attract, but it's how you want to relate to others. He wants to love. Hey, I love you, man, and to be loved. Oh, love me too. Oh, that was cool, player. Let's go for a coffee. Okay. Anyways, romance is the key with Venus in Aries. Without romance, he withers, becomes discouraged, broods, worries, complains, argues, breaks stuff. The astrologer's job, that's my job, is to help him discover the romance that's everywhere, available, ready to be grasped and enjoyed. The native, once again, the Venus in Aries guy, tends to be too romantic about romance. He often doesn't recognize the real thing and is taken in by the phony and the imitation. Once again, Venus in Aries jumps at love. They fall in love quickly. And, just a reminder, there's love everywhere in your chart. And there's love every day. You just got to know where to look. And once again, that's my job. Here's Lynn Burbeck. It says, you are bold, though potentially impatient lover. Oh, love for you is something that has to happen quickly, like at first sight, almost as if you were taken by storm. There also has to be a childlike, spontaneous quality to it that never settles down into an adult rut of habit and predictability. Love is to make something happen. The dark side of your particularly bright love nature is that you can be self-centered, impetuous, and emotionally immature, causing you to give in to mere fancy. These guys can be a little loose in the zipper, just saying. But once again, describing almost any sign, you can say they're loose in the zipper. You will attract with a forward but quite innocent seductiveness that is instantly beguiling, with a wild and primal sexuality that suggests a romping, playful, and uncomplicated sort of pleasure and lovemaking, and with a youthful appeal, whatever your age, that forces progress in some way. You repel with a selfish, demanding, and minx-like nature that can drop others quite ceremoniously. Venus and Aries, they'll next your action so fast it's not even funny. So you got to be able to keep up. With a reluctance or possibly an inability, an reluctance or an inability to give more of yourself than is needed to keep others where you want them. And with a Peter Pan complex that prevents you from accepting your social responsibilities. Okay, that's so funny. Okay, you're attracted to forceful and demonstrative displays of interest and affection. To others who are independent with, to a degree, interests others than you, and to others who have energetic, or what is this, like some lawyer write this? Forget this. Like, where'd she learn how to write? Okay, who is this? Lynn Burbeck. Okay, Lynn, come on. Okay, you're repelled by limp, unsure, or, worst of all, creepy types who lack passion or conviction, for it reflects badly on your own vibrancy. By fawning or clinging characters who want mothering or constant reassurance, and by fuddy-duddy social scenes and people that lack spontaneity and a bit of wildness. So she's saying that Venus in Aries people, they're quick to boogie. They're quick. They don't hit the boogie, so to speak, but they need some game. Whether you're alone, when you're alone, it could be because you've pushed one or more of the above negative traits to a point where no one's willing or able to commit to you. So it goes both ways. I know everybody's wondering if, they're always like, oh, is this guy going to commit? They think, oh, Venus in Aries, or Venus here, or, this sun sign there. They're never going to commit. But it goes both ways in astrology. It's a dynamic, comprehensive spectrum. And so, it's malleable, and it flows, and it cycles. And what happens is, it's not only that these guys, people may be reluctant to commit to someone who's like this. So it's not, but all you have to do is find the right partner. Once again, there's love out there for absolutely everyone. You just have to know where to look. And once again, that's my job. I'll gladly put your charts together and have a look for you. Okay. So once again, when you are alone, it could be because you have pushed one or more of the above negative traits to a point where no one's willing or able to commit to you. One of the two choices here is to recognize that others can keep your interest if you give him long enough to discover how to, but not too long. All right. The second choice is to settle for, is just settle to the fact that you're just too young at heart or old in body or something to find anyone who's going to last more than a week or so. The irony here is that sooner or later you'll have to settle for something, and the very thing you may believe you are so adverse to. Alternatively, you could be alone because love has ended as suddenly as it began. And it's kind of like living by the sword, die by the sword. Next, here's John Towley. We have John Towley and then Robert Hand coming up. These guys are really good. Okay, John Towley. Your appetite for love is quickly whetted, and you wish to possess the object of your affections without delay. If there's too much dallying about with a potential lover, you're likely to lose interest and move on to the new partner. No problem. Venus in Aries is fast game. Your style of loving may be very intense, even violent upon occasion. On the other hand, your desires are usually satiated rather quickly, particularly if the experience is a very intense one. This enables you to thoroughly enjoy a brief but fiery affair that would leave another person unfulfilled. In a longer range affair, however, you may feel that your partner lacks the intensity of passion that you desire, or that you wear yourself out while your lover is still getting into stride. You may have to make an effort to pace your desires and to be more consistent in your tastes to match your partner's. It all depends on who you end up with. But once again, there is someone out there for everyone. At the same time, your lover must understand that an apparently inconsistent or fickle desire is actually one in a series of sudden but sincere enthusiasms that must be seized and enjoyed on the spot before the impulse takes another direction. See that? So it's not always their fault. The partner's got to appreciate. You got to appreciate your partner's love style, man. Like, we go through this every day here. Anyways, don't knock him for it. Embrace it. Go enjoy the thing. So the guy suddenly he whips out some handcuffs. Put them on. See if they fit. Maybe he do something. Hey, you want to do this? Check it out. The guy's adventurous. He likes to play. He's spontaneous. He gets bored fast. What's the big deal? Anyways, be exciting. And he'll be exciting in return. If you're not into it, hit the next. Eject is a button on the plane too, Just saying. Although such an affair may, don't knock the guy for being, because he's got interest, don't knock the guy because he likes to check some action out. Anyways, although such an affair may take some time to develop, you would be happiest with a patient and understanding lover who can adjust to your timing rather than someone whose rhythms are similar but out of sync to your own. All right, next, Robert Hand. Okay, this guy's super famous for those who don't know. So Robert Hand, and he writes a lot of I think Robert Hand writes a lot of the horoscopes or a lot of the reports for some very popular websites, like hundreds of millions of views type of stuff. Anyways, it says, you are very affectionate towards others, but you hate to be tied down by anyone. Not shy or reserved, you express your loving feelings freely, and you need to be free to love whomever you choose. Whether you're older and have some kind of romantic life, you may have problems in understanding the balance between your own rights and the rights of your loved ones in the relationship. You're unwilling to give in to your partner because obviously it's competitive. They're not going to give in. So you got to watch out. Anyways, you are unwilling to give in to your partner because you always want things your own way. The price you pay for this may be difficult relations with the opposite sex. While you are young, this could be a problem in your relationships. However, now is the time when you can learn how to give and how to make compromises with friends, relatives, and other people. With others, you often make no special effort to be popular and well-liked, but, because it's a little selfish, right? But people usually like you anyways, because you're yourself. Not because you're charming. If you like because Venus doesn't really get to express the charm that it would in some other placements, but people like your individuality. Anyways, If you like someone you meet, you will not hesitate to say so. You're usually the person who starts a friendship or later a love relationship. You know what you want and you're willing to go after it. And finally, Isabel Hickey. Isabel's really popular too. Venus is in its detriment sign. Okay, here is self-satisfaction. So this is an interesting thing. So people often say Venus it's a bad placement. There's no such thing as a bad placement in astrology. A bad placement is like if you like place your finger in an electrical outlet. That's a bad placement. You know, this is not like a bad placement. Venus is in its detriment sign. Here is self-satisfaction. Where Venus loves, she's apt to do much for the loved one. But in this position, she's apt to love herself through the loved one. Does that make sense? Self-gratification in partnerships. A tendency to touchiness. We all are touchy. And is apt to be easily offended due to self-love. Apt to be inconsiderate of others without realizing it. This is a love springing into activity with order and enthusiasm. Not order, okay. But it's not a sustaining and nurturing kind of caring. But once again, you got to make it work. Any kind of relationship you got to make work. Every relationship you got to make work. But passion and aggressiveness can be strong. Thus, Venus may lose her sweetness in this sign. The lesson needed with this placement is the ability to put oneself in the other person's shoes, which I'm pretty sure they're going to try and do anyways. In spite of an impulsive approach to love, Venus in Aries is an idealist and is always seeking outwardly that which can only be found within. There is a tendency to lack stability, for Venus can tire quickly and change your mind often in an impulsive and reckless sign like Aries. And that's the action, guys. That's all about Venus in Aries. So to sum it up, what's the deal here? What did we learn? So we learned that Sunny's a professional astrologer, and if you want me to read your chart or check out a compatibility thing, then check it out in the description box, and I'd love to do it. We also learned we have lots of live streams here on the channel. Every morning we do astrology, and I shoot my video, and every night I read your tarot cards, and I shoot these videos live, and if you want to be part of it, just drop in and say hello. And we also learned that Venus in Aries, Venus is what you attract, but it's how you want to relate to others, and so it's how you want others to feel. And so in Aries is competitive. Aries needs someone to push back against. Aries colors things with a certain light. Some of these guys who were talking here talked a little bit more of the first house than Aries in particular. So you got to watch that. Meaning, if Venus is in Aries in the second house, that means that's all about money. It's not about your identity at all. It means you're going to attract money in a very Venus in Aries kind of way. If Venus is in Aries in this third house, you're going to drive your car in a very Venus in Aries kind of, hey, I love driving like this. Woo, fast, slow, take lots of little detours and stuff. I'm going to check this out, That's very much it. If Venus is in, I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but it depends on where it is. If Venus is in Aries in your fifth house, you're going to want this kind of relationship with your children. You're going to love your kids, but you're going to want your kids to do lots of different things. Whereas if Venus was in Taurus in the fifth house, you're going to want your kids to do one thing and to do a really good job with it. And that's the difference. So it's not always about me. Keep that in mind. If Venus is in your seventh house in Aries in partnerships, you're going to want your partner. This is how you're going to want to relate to your partner. You're not going to be competitive with your partner. You're not going to fight your partner all the time, so to speak. You and your partner are going to get together and take on the world, which is the difference between the first house and the seventh house. So astrologically, you have to be careful of what you read and what the different astrologers say, because quite often there's a similarity, but it's not the same thing between the house and the sign. And so, Venus in the first house is going to make you Venus in the first house in any sign is going to make you a selfish lover, and you're going to want to put yourself first, and that's just the way it is. But it's also going to make you really good looking. so that helps too. Anyways, that's the action. I hope that helps. From TheSunnySide.net, I'm Sunny, wishing everyone the absolute best of a super beautiful day. I hope everybody enjoys their Venus in Aries. And I'll see you guys soon.